The wind tore through the Colorado Rockies, howling so loud it sounded like something wild, hungry, and pissed off. Snow whipped sideways, thick enough to blind any fool who tried to find their way home. Samuel McBride pressed on through knee-deep drifts, a string of rabbits swinging from his belt. His buffalo coat was stiff with ice, beard crusted with frost still. He didn't stop. Living alone in the mountains meant you never got to wait out storms in comfort. His small cabin finally appeared through the swirling snow, wedged tight against a granite cliff. Sam had built every bit of it himself. Rope bed, rough-hewn table, shelves loaded with food he'd hunted and gathered all fall. Nothing fancy, nothing wasted, just enough to keep a man breathing and moving. And for Sam, that was all he needed. 12 years he'd been up here, 12 brutal winters. He wasn't running from the cold, he was running from the ache of loss. Parents gone to sickness, brother dead and buried far away, and a woman he'd once loved running off with another man. Sam walked away from it all, and he never looked back. Inside, he hung the rabbits near the door, stirred the fire back to life, and poured himself coffee. He took a seat at his rough table to clean his rifle, watching flurries hammer the window. Outside, that storm wasn't forgiving. Make a mistake in December, and the mountain would bury you. Sam was halfway through oiling his rifle's barrel when something cut through the wind a knock. Not loud, not yet, but urgent. Sam froze. No one came up here in the heart of winter, not unless they were desperate or dangerous. The knock came again, followed by a woman's voice, breathless and pleading. Please, please, is anyone there? We'll die out here. Every muscle in his body went tense. Sam stood, revolver already in hand, and moved to the door quietly. Who's there? He called out. A weaker voice answered from behind the first. Sir, please, we need shelter. He lifted the heavy bar and cracked a door open, rifle ready. What he saw made him lower it just a bit. A pair of women on his stoop, buried under layers of snow and desperation. The younger one, maybe 30, dark hair plastered to her face, held up an older woman who seemed half-conscious. Their dresses were soaked, hands blue with cold, and they carried nothing but small bundles, everything they owned, Sam figured. Please, the younger woman said. She can't walk anymore. Sam hesitated. His life worked because it was solitary, easy. Strangers meant chaos. Chaos meant trouble. But the older woman's head drooped, lips pale like ashes. Get inside, he said, gruff. Relief broke over the younger woman's face, and she guided her friend in. Warm air hit them, both shaking uncontrollably. Sam turned away, giving them privacy. Get those wet things off. Wrap up in blankets. I'll get hot water, he said, busying himself at the stove, ears tuned to their shuffling. When he finally turned, the women huddled by the fire, wrapped in elk-hide blankets, skin white as bone, hands trembling, but they were alive. Thank you, whispered the younger one. I'm Elizabeth Harper, and this is Martha Coleman. We're widows, sir. We were headed for Denver. Denver's 3 days away in decent weather, Sam said, handing them steaming cups. What in God's name were you doing up here? Elizabeth swallowed hard. Silver Creek kicked us out. Said we brought bad luck. My husband died in a mine collapse. Martha's was shot over cards. The townsfolk turned on us. Sam felt anger spark in his chest. Frontier towns could flip from neighborly to heartless in a blink. You're safe here for now, he told them. Martha lifted her pale face. You saved our lives. Sam cleared his throat, uncomfortable, not used to thanks. Storm might last days. You'll stay until it's safe. Elizabeth stared at her empty cup. We can't pay you, but we can help. I didn't ask for payment, Sam said, softer than he meant to. Just rest. Exhausted. The women nodded. As they ate rabbit stew, Sam watched them closely. They weren't troublemakers, weren't thieves, just beaten down by the world and the relentless winter. And despite all the walls Sam built around himself, something cracked just a hair. I never had a wife, he admitted, surprising himself. Elizabeth regarded him gently. Some men choose solitude. Some don't get the chance. Sam looked away. He didn't want kindness, didn't trust it. But as the wind screamed outside and the women trembled by his fire, he knew something had shifted inside him. He just couldn't tell yet if it was salvation or another kind of trouble. Morning came slow and pale through the cabin window. Sam woke in his chair, watching the fire all night. He'd given the women his bed, strung up a curtain for privacy. Outside, the storm had blanketed everything in silent white. Elizabeth stepped out first, dark hair braided, cheeks pink from the fire. "You should have woken us, Mr. McBride. You look exhausted," Sam stretched. "I've slept in worse places," Martha followed, moving stronger. She sat at his table, grey eyes sharp with understanding. "Elizabeth told me what you said about never having a wife." Sam stiffened. "That's personal," Martha smiled soft. "Everything about our story is personal. We're here because you let us in, and you're low because life's dealt you a harsh hand." Sam stayed quiet, feeling her words hit home. Elizabeth began breakfast, moving easy through his kitchen. He wasn't used to anyone touching his things, let alone making the place feel less lonely. When she set plates in front of him, she said, "We really don't want to be a burden. You're not." Sam replied, rough. "Storm's too rough for travel. When it clears, we'll figure something out." But as the day wore on, Sam realized he didn't want the storm to clear not anymore. Days passed. The cabin changed. Not with romance, not right away, but with something unspoken, a trust that only comes from surviving hell together. Elizabeth cooked. Martha mended shirts and organized shelves. Sam hunted, chopped wood. They lived like a family without ever saying the word. On the fourth morning, Sam came back from his traps to find Elizabeth struggling with a frozen bucket. She slipped, and his hand shot out on instinct, their hands touching. She blushed furiously. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "No harm done," he said, but inside it felt like something sparked, the kind that chips away at walls. Martha saw, eyeing them with a knowing look Sam didn't appreciate. That night, the storm got worse. Wind hammered the cabin, icicles smashing like glass. They sat close to the fire, huddled, when Elizabeth pulled out a wooden flute. "I kept this," she said. "It's all I have from my husband." "Play," Martha urged. Elizabeth did, slow and haunting. The tune filled the room, like a prayer or a memory. Sam felt something tender and painful move inside him. When she finished, he surprised himself play another. Elizabeth smiled for the first time since arriving. Martha hummed along, and soon Sam found himself tapping his foot. For that moment, the storm disappeared. Fear disappeared. So did regret. Just music and Elizabeth's face lit by fire. Peace didn't last. Dawn brought trouble. Sam stepped outside. Squinting at the tall snow, heard the crunch of hooves. He rushed in, grabbed his rifle. "Stay back," he told the women. "Don't speak unless I tell you." He cracked the door. 3 men approached. One he knew, Jake Morrison from Silver Creek, others with mean faces and rifles. "Samuel McBride," one called. "We're looking for 2 women." "Thieves," Martha gasped. Sam didn't budge. "Haven't seen any women." "Storm would have killed anyone traveling." "Funny," the deputy said. "We found scraps of dresses near the creek. Tracks pointed this way." Sam's jaw tightened. "My cabin's private. Not when you hide criminals," the deputy barked. "We're searching inside." The younger man stepped forward. Sam fired into the snow right at his feet. "Next shot won't be a warning," he said. "You're making a mistake, McBride," the deputy snarled. "Harboring fugitives is a crime." "Come back with the law, man," Sam replied, cold. "Until then, stay off my mountain." The men backed off, but their threats rang in the pines as they disappeared. Inside, Elizabeth trembled. "They'll be back," Martha said. "I know," Sam replied. "But tell me the truth. Did you take anything?" "No," Elizabeth cried. "We were just an easy target blamed for bad luck." Sam believed her. He felt the weight of a big choice settling on his shoulders. "You're not facing them alone. I made that choice the second I lied for you." Elizabeth's eyes shone. "Why?" Sam stared outside at the snow and mountains. He didn't need to sugarcoat his answer. Because for 12 years, I didn't care if I lived or died. You reminded me what it feels like to care again. Martha placed her hand over his. You found a reason to live, she said softly. And we've found a reason to hope. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, something stronger was waking up. The storm finally broke after 7 days, blanketing the world in untouched silence. Sam scanned the ridges, rifle ready. The men from Silver Creek hadn't given up. They were back, more riders, more guns, more fury. Inside, Elizabeth helped Martha with her boots. Martha's ankle was better, but still tender. We can't stay here, Sam said, stepping inside, eyes wild with worry. They'll come again, with more men. Elizabeth looked up, scared. Then what do we do? Sam paced, thinking through every escape route he'd ever mapped. There's an old cave system high up the mountain. I stocked it years ago. If we leave at first light, we can reach it before they find our tracks. It's dangerous, Martha warned. So is staying, Sam shot back. That settled things. They left at dawn, Sam breaking trail, Elizabeth helping Martha. Every step was slow, snow swallowing their legs. The mountain tried to break them, but they kept pushing. Martha slipped on ice, crying out. Sam rushed to her side. You all right? She shook her head, pain twisting her face, ankle throbbing. We're not leaving you, Elizabeth snapped, fierce. Sam crouched, turned his back to Martha. Get on. But get on, he repeated. She did, arms wrapped around his shoulders. Elizabeth took both packs, spirit fierce, determination written all over her tired face. They climbed, inch by inch. Sam saw riders far below, dark shapes moving across the snow. They're tracking us, he said quietly. Elizabeth counted. 7, maybe 8. There wasn't much time. Sam led them to an abandoned hunting camp, a lean-to and fire pit, just enough to fool their pursuers. They made tracks around it, kept a smoky fire burning, left signs behind. At dusk, the riders stopped nearby, far enough to avoid Sam's rifle, close enough to watch. They think we're settling in, Sam whispered. Will they attack tonight? Elizabeth asked. Not in this blizzard. They'll wait, plan. Think they're clever, Martha nodded. Then we slip out while they watch the wrong place. That night, after hours of fake noise and movement, the trio packed quietly and slipped behind the lean-to, disappearing into the black woods. Martha leaned heavy on a makeshift crutch. No moon, just darkness. They moved on instinct, trusting Sam's knowledge of the mountain until the mine entrance appeared, a jagged slit in the stone. In Sam urged, deep in the cave. He rolled a boulder across the entrance, just enough to slow pursuers. Candles flickered against rock walls. The space opened into a hidden cavern fed by a trickling spring. We're safe for now, Sam said, though he didn't believe it. By morning, the riders reached the mine. Their voices echoed faintly through stone. We've got them trapped. Bring tools. Smoke them out if we have to. Elizabeth's hands shook. Martha covered them, whispering, together. We faced this together. Sam searched the cave and found a thin back passage. This leads out the far ridge, but it's tight. Martha might not fit. Martha's eyes went hard. I'll make it. I did not come this far to die in a cave. The crawl was rough. Martha gritted her teeth, tears streaming. Elizabeth pushing. Sam carrying their supplies in his teeth when it got tight. Hours later, they emerged into grey daylight. But it wasn't over. Shots rang out, snow exploding around them. Sam spun, men pouring down the slope quicker than expected. Ran, Sam shouted. He hauled Martha forward, Elizabeth keeping pace. Another bullet or into a tree beside Martha's head. Voices bellowed. Stop. You can't escape. Sam said Martha behind a fallen tree. Raised his rifle. Elizabeth took his revolver. Martha hefted his backup gun, a tiny derringer. Outnumbered, outgunned, but not out of fight. Gunfire cracked, echoing of the range. Sam dropped one. Elizabeth nicked another's leg, hands trembling but determined. Martha fired and drove back an attacker, but the enemy kept coming. Sam's rifle clicked empty. Elizabeth fired her last round. They were cornered. Samuel McBride. Coulson shouted, "Give us the women and you walk away." Sam barked back, "Over my dead body." "That can be arranged." Right then, a thunderous voice ripped through the trees. "What in blazes is going on in my mountain?" Josiah Wells burst from the forest, 3 armed trappers in tow, and his buffalo rifle boomed. Coulson's men scrambled, retreating. "This isn't over," Coulson spat as he disappeared. "Oh, it's over. Come back, and you'll be buried," Josiah growled. Josiah's cabin became their refuge. Word spread. More folks found shelter, including Sarah Clement and her children. Silver Creek justice crumbled when the truth came out. Sam stood before Elizabeth and Martha, hat in hand, heart pounding. Life had stripped him bare once, but somehow these women, these friends, restored it. He looked at Elizabeth, searching her hopeful eyes. "Marry me," he said, voice clear as mountain air. "Come back to the mountains. Build a real home with me. Stay here, be my family." Elizabeth didn't hesitate. "Yes," she said, smiling through tears. Martha wiped her eyes. "About damn time, you fool man." They built a new life together. A refuge, a school, a haven for anyone needing a fresh start. Sam McBride, once the lone mountain man whose heart nearly froze over, found more than just survival in those wild hills. He found a wife, a mother, and a purpose. And for the first time in 12 hard years, he didn't just survive the Rockies. He finally learned how to live there.